You say you want to catch some coho? Let's do this thing.
See that? I was just setting this line, and he ripped it out of my hands when I was putting the board on. And now he's headed downtown for Chinatown. And that wheel's almost...
Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Steve from Natural Selection Angling, and I'm coming back at you with another great video in our Spring Coho fishing series. This is part 2, Understanding Trolling Spoons.
Nice one. Woo!
And everybody loves to get into them good, and spoons are a great way to catch them.
Look at that spoon.
Oh man, look at that thing. Look at that.
Totally bent.
Oh man. This video is going to give you everything you need to know about how to select the correct spoon for the species and the conditions present. So let's get into it. Now, I know all of you have fishing partners out there like this. They believe spoons come in 2 varieties, the big one and the small one. And then they ask you, which one you want to put out? But man, there's so much more to it. The finish is not that important to what we're talking about, so we're not going to go over that, but we are going to go over the physics and hydrodynamics of different types of spoons. Now this one right here is a number 5. We make a lot of this size spoon, right? But it's not the only large size spoon. This one's a little bit longer. It's pretty big too. This one's the identical blank. Right? These are the same. Now you got this one, same size, but it looks a lot different and feels a lot different. What about this one? Different yet again. About the same size, but totally different. And you got this one, also different. So what is the difference between all of these spoons and why do they behave differently? That's what we're going to get into. Okay, if you haven't seen part 1, Understanding Body Baits, watch this video right here so you can understand how I'm going to explain the hydrodynamics of the spoon as they relate to these baits we discussed in the previous video. We learned there that this flat-sided body bait has a high frequency vibration, and so do these spoons. Later on in the video, I'm going to get into the reasons why these spoons share hydrodynamic characteristics with the flat-sided body bait, okay? There's a lot that goes into the mix here, and we're going to get into that. Do you guys remember this body bait style? The semi-round style? It's got a wider, rounder back on the top, and it's going to dive down to the depth you need it to be at, and then it's going to have a nice roll and a fairly wide wobble. That's very similar to these spoons, okay? Now, why do these spoons also have a medium frequency vibration? Well, we're going to get into all of those reasons in just a little bit. But right now, we're identifying that these spoons will perform under the same types of conditions as those semi-round body baits. That's that pile right there. Now moving on, in the last video, the last type of bait we discussed was the round body baits. Okay, these have a ton of roll and a very wide wobble, and they hunt a lot. Okay, so what makes these spoons similar to that body bait? Right? These have characteristics that make them work the same way. And we're going to get into those characteristics. And that's going to be the basis of our understanding why these baits that have drastically different shapes and sizes can create the same type of vibration in the water and why that's important. All right, now getting back to these high frequency baits. You'll remember from the previous video that these flat-sided baits that are real thin across the back, they have a very thin profile but very tall sides. They have a high frequency wiggle. These spoons are going to perform the same way. Spoons with a narrower width exhibit a higher frequency movement. All right, now have a look at this guy. He's a thinner gauge, okay? All things being equal, a thinner gauge lends to a higher frequency vibration. See that? You can hear the density difference between these spoons. Now this guy, he's pretty big, right? But he's very flexible. He has very thin gauge material. And he also has a very flat profile. Okay, a flatter profile lends itself to a higher frequency vibration. That's why these spoons perform like these flat-sided body baits. And here's one in action right here. This is the Dreamweaver Super Slim. It's being dragged at 2 to 2.2 miles per hour. And you can see it runs really nice at this speed. It's exhibiting motion at 6 cycles per second. And it has very little dropout, flutter, or hunting. It's good speed for this spoon. All right, now moving on. Remember the semi-round body baits? Right? These exhibit a medium frequency vibration. It's going to be very similar to this group of spoons right here. And I'm going to tell you why. First thing we notice about these is they have a rounder profile. And just like with the semi-round body baits, this is going to lend itself towards a medium frequency vibration. So it's going to slow down the vibration speed a bit, that deeper cupping. Same thing with a thicker gauge. Thicker gauge spoons will vibrate more slowly. Now, this one is a thinner gauge, right? And it's also a shorter spoon, but it's got a wide back to it, okay? And the wider the width, the slower the vibration. This one right here, it's not as wide, it's a little bit longer, but the key feature here is it's got deep cupping down the longitudinal axis. It's going to give it a medium frequency vibration, right? It's the interplay of all these factors. That's why these spoons will perform like these semi-round body baits. And here's one in action right here. We're going to drag it at the same speed. And you're going to notice it has a little bit different of behavior. It rolls a little further, okay? It only rolls at 5 cycles per second because the stroke is longer. Runs pretty nice, has occasional dropout and occasional flutter. Now, moving on. Remember these round baits? These exhibit a low frequency vibration. They roll a lot, they wag a lot, and they hunt a lot. And what makes these spoons similar to those body baits? Well, take a look at them. Let's use some of what we just learned. It has a deeper and rounder profile. It's going to make it throb in the water, right? A low frequency vibration. You can see it's wider, right? A wider width lowers the frequency of vibration. And it's a thicker gauge. The thicker the gauge, the lower the frequency of the vibration, right? Again, it's interplay between all these factors. Now have a look at this one. It's really small and it's also slim, but look how heavy duty the material is. It's super dense. It's a very thick gauge. And look at the sweep of the curve. It's got a heavy curve. This is going to be a low frequency vibration bait. Now this one right here is a classic low frequency vibration spoon. It has all the features that lend themselves to that result. It's got a thick gauge material. It's deeply cupped. It's not very slim. And these features are going to contribute to a low frequency vibration. Look at the hump in the back of it. That tells you something. It's going to have wobble. It's going to have roll. And we know that from the way it's built. That's why it's going to perform like this body bait. And here it is in action. Again, very low speed. Now this represents the extreme low end of where these spoons will actually work. you'll see it has a lot of flutter and a lot of dropout. It's only moving at 4 cycles per second. It's barely working, okay? Man, that was a lot to cover. So let's recap. First, we talked about high frequency spoons. These have a narrower width, a thinner gauge, and a flatter profile. These are extremely tolerant at low speeds, providing a 6 hertz wiggle at 2 miles per hour. And these are best for the coldest water, like 32 to 40 degrees. Next up, we discussed the medium frequency spoons. These have a wider width, they have a thicker gauge, and they have a rounder profile. So all other things being equal, they're fairly tolerant at low speeds, exhibiting a 5 hertz movement pattern at 2 miles an hour. This makes them great for cold water, like 40 to 50 degrees is when you want to start sending these bad boys. Now these are the low frequency spoons. They have the widest width, they have the thickest gauge, and they have a deeper, rounder profile. This gives them a very wide wobble. They're less tolerant at low speeds, exhibiting a 4 hertz movement cycle at 2 miles per hour. And these are best for warmer water, like 50 degrees and up.
Because I am hard, you will not like me. But the more you hate me, the more you will learn. I am hard, but I am fair. You are all equally worthless. And my orders are to weed out all non-hackers who do not pack the gear to serve in my beloved cause. Do you maggots understand that? Sir, yes, sir. Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sir, yes, sir.
All right, guys, that's enough of drills on the PT grinder. If you want to catch your own coho, watch this video first and go out and smash them. Now while you're preparing to do this, your dutiful manservant will be preparing the next episode, part 3, flasher fly selection, and that's coming soon. In the meantime, make sure you like and subscribe and hit the alert bell so you don't miss anything important.
And that's in order, you filthy maggots.
Have a great day.